Hey there, thanks for joining. My name is Ksawery and I'm the content manager at CallPage. CallPage is a lead capture tool and a software solution for handling your inbound calls. But more on that later. Today we want to talk about cold calling. I'll share some of my personal insights and things I learned from my senior sales colleagues. So let's jump right in. Okay, cold calling. It's that age-old tactic we all know. You call people out of the blue and hope to spark some interest in your product or offer. Does it still hold water today? Well, a lot of companies still use it and a lot of companies find it very effective. I can think of two situations where it's definitely good to cold call. First, if your inbound call volume is on the low and you want to amplify business results, get a few more leads and a few more sales in the pipeline, then you should definitely cold call. Another situation is if you're entering a new market or launching a new product and there isn't enough demand for your product. In that situation, it's good to try out many different outreach and outbound tactics, and one of them is cold calling. And it can still be very effective today. Now, let's look at a few cold calling statistics. As you can see, quite a lot of people still accept cold calls from sales reps, which backs up the claim that there is still potential in this strategy. What's more, most C-level executives prefer to do business over the phone rather than through email, for example. Although it's worth noting that this statistic, despite being named a cold calling statistic, doesn't specify what types of calls it's referring to. And finally, more than half of companies leading in growth in their respective industries still use cold calling as part of their strategy. And judging by the good business results, they're doing it for a reason. Now let's talk about the drawbacks. There are quite a few, but I've listed the three most concerning ones in my opinion. To put it short, cold calling is very time consuming and not that effective. According to research from Baylor University, it takes more than 7 hours for a sales rep to secure one appointment. And the overall conversion rates almost never exceed 2%. Finally, it's good to remember that although almost 70% of buyers accept cold calls, as we said, most of them have a negative attitude towards these conversations. Okay, we've seen some statistics and we've talked about the drawbacks. So what's next? Well, I've prepared a short cold call I'd like to share with you, and then we can discuss it and see what I did wrong and what I did right. So let's listen to it now.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mr. Brown?
Yes? Who's calling?
My name is Ksawery and I'm calling from PM Tech Limited. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. What's this regarding?
So I'm calling to talk about our project management software that can completely revolutionize the way you handle your projects. It's basically a one-stop solution for all your project management needs, offering real-time collaboration, task tracking, and much more. Our software is also trusted by over 500 companies worldwide. So could I interest you in a demo?
Well, I am quite busy at the moment, and we are currently satisfied with our existing system, so I don't think we'll be interested in what you're offering at this point.
Oh, but our software is the best in the market. It has all the features like Gantt charts, Kanban boards, and much more. Plus, it integrates with all the tools you already use. And we're offering a 20% discount for the first year.
I appreciate the offer, but as I said, we are not looking to switch our system right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you have a good day. So you probably already know that was an example of a bad cold call. Of course, I introduced myself, I was polite, I asked Mr. Brown how he was doing, but that's not enough, right? There was pretty much no personalization in that conversation. I jumped right in with generic facts, I didn't assess Mr. Brown's needs, I probably didn't do any research beforehand too. So I bombarded Mr. Brown with information without even knowing what his pain points were and what he needed from the software. He didn't need to know about all of the features we have. So my biggest mistake, if I have to point out one, is that I didn't ask any questions. And it wasn't really a conversation. It was my monologue that had to be interrupted at some point. And there was one more big mistake I made. I wasn't prepared to handle objections at all. And you have to know objections are a very important part of cold calling. Well, you'll get them almost every time. So you have to be prepared to handle them in one way or another. So what were my three main mistakes once again? First of all, no research. I did no pre-call research and I didn't ask any questions to assess Mr. Brown's needs. Second of all, I had a very generic pitch. I bombarded Mr. Brown with too much information. And my third mistake was I wasn't prepared to handle objections. If I had to point out the biggest mistake out of these three, I think it's the lack of personalization. You have to empathize with the other person. You have to know something about their pain points and talk about those. Otherwise, there's no chance you'll spark some interest. Unless you're very, very lucky. I promised to share some of my personal insights, so here it goes. A few years back, I used to work for a small safety training company that sold safety training to businesses. And I did a lot of cold calling in those few months. So I realized two things. Your initial tone in the conversation is very important. It can really help you seal the deal or lose it. Why is the tone so important? Because our brains make the decision if we want to listen to someone or not in the first 5 seconds of the conversation. And it's hard to record a lot of information in those 5 seconds. What we do record and remember is how we feel talking to that person. And your tone is one of the most important things in how you're being perceived emotionally by the other person. For example, you can actually hear if the person you're talking to on the phone is smiling or not. It may be counterintuitive, but that's how it works. If you're smiling, your tone changes and you're a lot more pleasant to listen to. Personally, I'm still learning to smile on videos like this and during phone calls, but I've realized it's very, very important, and it does change your tone, and it does change the way people perceive you. So that's one thing to remember. Always mind your tone and remember to smile even if no one is seeing you. But besides sounding friendly, you want to sound confident, like you know what you're talking about. And in my experience, confidence comes from preparation. If you're well prepared and you know what you want to talk about and how you want to talk about it, then you don't stutter too much and you don't forget the things you wanted to say. Moving on, what's your goal when you start cold calling? Is it sales? Is it driving revenue and closing another deal? I thought that was my goal at the beginning of my cold calling career. I realized, however, that that's not a very good thing to aim for. That's not a good objective. After all, people aren't keen on aiding your sales targets. They're not there to help you grow your business or drive revenue. They're there to solve their problems and address their pain points. And that's what you should be doing. You should be a consultant, not a seller. You should add value instead of selling stuff to them. I realized this when comparing my sales results to my colleague who used to work with the same contact list and in similar hours, but his results were 2 or 3 times better. After some time, I realized I was the seller type and I was trying to sell things, and my only goal was to make another sale and get another commission. However, his goal was to be a consultant and offer something the people he was talking to might find useful. And that approach was a lot better and it brought results. Although, to be honest, when I changed my approach, my results still weren't as good as his. He was just better at the job, but my sales levels did increase significantly. Okay, time to wrap up what we've learned about cold calling now. First of all, do your homework. Know a bit about who you're calling and their company before you dial the number. Second, keep it short and sweet. Don't overwhelm people with information, get to the point and spark their interest. Third, make it personal. Don't go for a generic script, tailor what you say to the needs and problems of your potential customers. Fourth, be ready for pushback. Have some responses ready for the common objections you may encounter. Fifth, watch your tone. Make sure you have a positive attitude because it's crucial in the first seconds when people decide if they want to continue talking to you. Sixth, be helpful but not salesy. It's all about helping people with their issues, not just selling your stuff. And seventh, learn and improve. Each call is a chance to get better. See what works, drop what doesn't, and keep going. But there's one more thing you may be thinking about. How do I get the contact data of people I can call? The most traditional methods include networking, giving out business cards or flyers, and cold mailing. However, these can be very tedious and time-consuming. Of course, networking is great because if you get a phone number from someone who's already talked to you, he might be more interested in your product, and your cold call will have a higher potential of converting. But you can also use your website to gather a lot of contact data, and that's what most companies do. For example, you can offer downloadable content like ebooks in exchange for people's contact data, including their phone number. For that, you obviously have to have some good content and a website that has either a lot of organic traffic or a way to boost that traffic, for example, using PPC campaigns. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once you have that traffic, you're not only limited to cold calls, you can also use it in your inbound call strategy. And let's talk about that for a moment now. Take a look at this comparison. As you can see, the conversion rates of inbound calls are notably higher. But why is that? First of all, the person reaching out already has some interest or need, which is a solid foundation to build upon. They've likely done some homework, seen your website or an ad, and decided to get in touch. Secondly, it's less intrusive. People are calling you at a time that's convenient for them, so you can catch them when they're receptive and open to discussion. And lastly, inbound calls allow for a richer, more personalized conversation, since you can immediately dive into solving the caller's problems or answering their questions without needing to first establish interest or credibility. So, although cold calling is a viable strategy, and I wish you all the luck in those outbound conversations, it's good to have an inbound call strategy as well. So whether it's organic, referral, or PPC, how do you use that website traffic to generate more inbound calls? Well, that's where CallPage really shines. Our platform lets you integrate a pop-up window to your website. Based on a set of scoring rules that you can fully customize, you can set triggers for when the pop-up is displayed to your website visitors. It will ask them for their phone number, and if they agree to talk to you, it will contact them with a sales rep within 28 seconds or less. Your potential customer doesn't have to look for the phone number or worry about phone fees. To make it even more convenient, our widget allows the customer to schedule a call for a different time. This is especially useful out of your usual business hours when your sales reps or consultants are offline. Besides that, there are 2 more options of contact. Your website visitor can schedule a meeting, both offline and online, through video conferencing software like Zoom. This is also fully automatic and integrates with your sales reps' calendars. And the last option is to leave a message if that's the preferred way of contact of your website visitor. Our experience shows that CallPage can effectively double the amount of inbound sales calls you get, and it's completely free to try, so why not? You also don't have to be a very technical internet user to use CallPage. The integration is very easy and can be carried out in different ways, through a plugin, through GTM, or by simply adding the code to your website. If you have 15 minutes of spare time, why not try it? That's how long the integration takes, and the first 14 days of using CallPage are completely free. After that, you decide if you want to stay. We don't take your credit card details up front, so we're not going to charge you if you decide to stop using CallPage. And it's really worth it. A lot of our clients have doubled the amount of inbound sales calls they're getting, and some have even tripled that amount. Okay, it's time to sum up. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm getting more confident with every minute of this video. And the same will happen to you with cold calling. The more you practice, the better you'll be at it. When cold calling, always remember to be prepared, watch your tone, personalize, and be helpful, not salesy. Don't be afraid to cold call, but be prepared for rejection. And if you want to double the amount of inbound sales calls you get, give CallPage a try. Now that's it for today. If you liked the video, and I hope you did, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. If you want to learn more about CallPage, you can request a demo by clicking the link below. And if you want to have a chat about cold calling or marketing, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. You'll also find the link in the description below. That's all I have for you, so thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!